Well, we're here at the Sands Motor Inn. It's November 17, 2001. Our guest this evening is Homer Poitras, our fiddler on the Gabriel Dumont Institute Fiddle CD book project. Well, we'll start off, Homer. We'll get you to tell us a little bit about your family, your parents, your grandparents.
I believe I will start with my grandparents.
Okay.
See, my grandma was from St. Albert, and she was Cunningham. My grandpa was from Kehewan, a descendant of Big Bear.
Oh.
And I'm proud to be part of Big Bear, as the way things stand. Like, you know, some people are born to be lucky, and I think I was lucky to be born in this family. And my grandfather was the first president of the Métis Association of Alberta. And there was a lot of changes you had to make in order to be one of those. And he's probably one of the founders of the Métis settlements today, the only ones in Canada. And there's hardly any mention about my grandfather when it comes to those, and that's hurting, you know, as I sit here speaking about my grandpa. But I will leave that, and I will speak on a music aspect. He was a churchgoer, I guess you would say, and he never missed mass. He did all the singing in the mass, and that's where I guess we got this gift, or whatever you want to call it, that we could sing along with him and know these words and not be able to read at a young age. And yet we grasp these songs and know the words, whether it be English or Cree. We were proud to sing either one, it didn't matter.
And what your grandfather's name was again?
Joe Francis Dion. Yeah. And Mom played the organ a little bit, you know. And Dad played the fiddle. So we were lucky in that way, where we were kind of raised with music. Not only Mom and Dad, it carried on to the uncles and aunts. They either sang or played some instrument. It was there all the time. So we had no problem in creating our own music when it came to gatherings, whether it be a dance, birthday, or whatever you want to call it. It was there. Everybody was gifted with something. And we weren't shy to share that. Like, we didn't have to be told half a dozen times or begged to come and do whatever. You did it because you wanted to share your gift. And that's the way things should be. And I guess that's where I'm at today. Even in my own family, my household, they're all musical inclined. You know, they can carry notes, they can sing a pretty mean song once in a while if they decide they want to do that. And then I carry it on to my grandchildren. I've decided to give each one of them some musical instrument, whether it be a violin, you know, piano, guitar, set of drums, whatever they talk about. Like, you know, I'd sure like to have something that say, Grandpa doesn't close his ears when it comes to music, like, you know. And I try to give that to my own grandchildren, so they can have something they can share with their own children. Like, music is everything. And to speak about music, for me, what it does for me, music is when I'm stressed out, I can take my fiddle and go sit downstairs in my own little room and play for 20 minutes, whatever it takes me. And I can come out of there just rested and ready to go. That's what this thing does for me. And I still do that today, at my age, you know. And I enjoy that, you know. It's my way of relaxing. You know, just this is my space, and I don't want nobody, while I'm doing this, I don't want nobody in that circle while I'm doing this. You know, it's just me and the fiddle and the Creator. You know, it's a good feeling to do that.
That's very nice. Did we get your parents' names, like your mother and father?
Mom's name was she's still alive, thank God. I still have everybody alive, you know, except for my grandparents have gone to see the maker.
Wow.
But like I say, Mom is Mary, and my dad's Lloyd, and he's always involved in this Métis Association of Alberta. He's always been involved there because I used to travel with him when I took my grandpa to meetings, you know. So I kind of have an idea what's going on, you know, in M&A stuff, and a lot of other stuff that I learned from these people. Not only music, other stuff like cultural stuff, you know. When sweats were taboo, we weren't allowed to have those. My grandfather had those. He didn't give. Darn who was going to tell him what to do. Like, you know, he was a man and he had his own beliefs. And I helped him with them sweats, you know. But at that time, being a young fella, I didn't know the difference. We could have been both taken away. I wouldn't have known, you know.
Yeah.
But stuff like that, you know, I just, even today, I just sit and think, and I said, I was really glad that I was born in at the right time, right place, in the right family. That's the feeling I get today.
Being a fiddle player, how did you get your first fiddle?
I got my first fiddle when I think I was 14. I got it for Christmas. It was one of those sales, you know, 1995. I think you paid at Eaton's or ordered for, but I didn't know that. And grandfather bought that, and he bought a guitar same time. But he kind of knew that I liked music, because when we used to go to dances, late Uncle Pete Poitras used to play fiddle, and I would just sit right in front of him, like right in front, and just sit there and watch. When he was going out for his beer or whatever he had to go out for, at that time, you know, we had house parties, rooms weren't big, we didn't need no microphones or nothing, you know. Mm-hmm. And he'd give me that fiddle to hold, you know. I never played it, like, you know, I had that respect, like, this is not mine, it's not right to do that, you know. So I just hold it and wait for him. When he come back, I give back to him and I sit there. And I think he was quite he could play the fiddle. He played it well, you know. And I think that's where it started. Like, Grandpa noticed this, you know. I'm sitting there, and that's how I think. I'm sure that's the way this got to be, you know.
What kind of fiddle was it again?
It was one of those. I don't want to say cheap, but at that time it was lots of money. Like, you know, $14.95 for a fiddle. Hey, you know, that's like $1,000 today. That's the way I look at it, you know. And I treasured that. In fact, I still got that fiddle.
Oh.
It's a different color now, but I had, there was an uncle here that lived in town here, lived in Edmonton. He was he fiddled violins. In fact, I got one of his, Jed Poitras, his name was Jed Poitras. I've got one of his fiddles, and I will not take that anywhere. It's at home, and I don't even tell them people where it's at, because it's priceless. He's gone on, passed on. And you can't put money on this fiddle, you know.
How does it compare with the other fiddlers? Other fiddles, like your main fiddle that you bring out to play at a dance?
I guess they're pretty well even. Like, for me, I'm a kind of a perfectionist, okay? I like my fiddle to sound the way I want it to sound. And if it doesn't sound right for me, it's not going to sound right for anybody else. So I have to be, I don't know what you want to call it. It's there or not there. If it's not there, I don't want it, like, you know. And the one I have, the fiddle I have now is I guess I can say it's priceless. I can't put a number on it. I refuse to put a number on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you began playing the fiddle at 14, did you say?
14, yeah.
Okay. Can you remember how much practice it took you to learn, say, your first tune?
It's funny how you would ask that question, you know. I guess I'm just kind of proud just how fast that I can catch on to stuff. And this is no word of a lie. I have witnesses. My brother's still alive. He's younger than me. And he got a guitar. And he worked on his, I worked on mine. And behold, we played for New Year's Day. We played for that dance that night.
And you just got your fiddle for
And,
Christmas?
and I got it for Christmas, and we played that one tune. We learned that one tune. I can't remember what it is, but it was a simple tune. We played as a waltz, as a foxtrot, and as a two-step, whatever you want to call it, and the people were just happy. You know. And if you allow me to backtrack, I guess,
Sure.
when we're talking about fiddle and we're talking about music, at that time when I was growing up, there was only a few people that knew how to play. And they had this gift to play, but you kind of had to beg them to come and play. Like, you know, they'd sooner go outside and do their thing rather than come and play for people. And that stuck in my mind, you know. And I said, I'm going to learn to play this thing. And mister, you're going to have a rough time sending me off that chair. When I start playing, you can go home because we don't need you no more. That's how much I love music, you know. And it happened. Exactly what I said, that's what happened. I had friends, you know, would say, we asked you to come and play, now you don't want to play. Now we've got somebody to play any tune that he wants, he plays. Now you expect us to let you come and play? You can go. I guess I'm kind of stubborn. I tell you, that's what happened there. Like, you know, them two went together. I caught on fast, and I didn't like the idea of begging somebody to come and play for people that come from a long way. It was so cold anyway to start with, you know, and to come and dance and sit there for hours and waiting for somebody to come play 4 tunes and then walk out again. And that was hurting at that time. I was just a young fella. I can remember that, just like yesterday, you know. And that's why, and it's like that today, you know. I said, mister, you know, it's just, it's me, like, I'm competitive. I don't care what anybody says. Doesn't matter what it is, you know. Don't matter what it is. You know, you're not going to knock me over that easy, you know. You're going to have a rough time. But it's a game that I play, I guess, you know. But not to hurt anybody or run down anybody. It's just something I have, you know.
Okay. Do you remember, maybe even as a teenager, or maybe even as an adult in later years, did you personalize your fiddle in any way? Like, I guess that could mean if you wanted to go inside the fiddle, like moving the sound post around, or painting it, or decorating it, or do you do anything like that with your fiddle?
I didn't really change anything. I like my fiddle as they are, because a fiddle is a fiddle, and you start changing stuff on the fiddle, it's not the same as what you started with. And I like to grow with the fiddle. Once I love the sound, I like to stay with that. And the only thing I could say is that I like keep my fiddle clean. The only thing you'll see on my fiddle is the rosin, because that can't be helped. It comes off the bow, and the more you play, the more. But when I have a chance, I clean it, you know. It's part of me. And I have a lot of respect for the violin itself. Like, you know, it done wonders for me, the violin. Like, you know, if I backtrack again, like I just mentioned, that if I want a stress reliever, I use that violin. We run out of grub on a table. Here it comes again. You know, I never worry. Where's my next gig? Where's that? There's too many phone calls already. Like, you know, and it's, I guess I'm just thankful. I thank the Creator for giving me that gift. You know, and I like to share that gift. And I'm never, people ask me to do something in the fiddle, I never say no. I don't know how to say no when it comes to the fiddle. Because what it done for me, what it represents as I guess as a Métis person, people will know me, they'll give my name as, this is Homer Poitras. They'll do this, oh, I saw you, you know, stuff like that. It's kind of a landmark for me. It's something that's, if people saw me somewhere on the street, they'd kind of recognize me. But then down the road, they'll see me on the stage with the fiddle. Heck, I know that guy, you know. It's just it's part of me. It's just like this cowboy hat. It's part of me. Like, you know, I hardly ever go anywhere without a cowboy hat. And same with my fiddle. You know, you won't catch me too often without my fiddle. If you do, well, that's your lucky day. You know, it goes with me.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Do you play any other instruments besides fiddle?
Excuse me. I play drums. I play bass. Play rhythm. Play a little lead. Get carried away on the piano sometime.
Oh.
You know. And the fiddle, I guess I like playing backup for singers. It's just another gift again. Like, you know. And all kinds of I just have an ear for music, I guess, and put it in that way.
Okay.
You know, you give it to me and give me a few minutes and I will play it for you. So once I can figure out what it's supposed to do, I suppose, you know.
You mentioned that you were a big fan of your uncle's. What was your uncle's name?
Uncle Pete. Pete Poitras. No.
Oh, okay.
And he played well. Plus other people, like, and that was after the fact. But he was one of the first persons, I guess, that I really sat down and watched. In our community, I guess he was the one that was the kingpin when it came to playing the violin. But at that time, like, you know, a person can't play violin all night long, because our dances started, let's say, 7 o'clock, and even they quit 5 in the morning. Like, you know, one fiddler is not going to be able to handle all that. And there was other people, like I say, that knew how. They just put that. That was hurting at that time, like, you know. And that's where I learned all these different tunes, like listening.
So, besides your Uncle Pete,
excuse me,
who would have been your any other musical influences? Either local, like in your Uncle Peter's friends, or any fiddle records or fiddlers that you heard on the radio. Do you feel that? Could you name maybe a few fiddlers that you feel influenced you?
I think there's something I've got to mention this. There's just no way I can't. When I moved from home to the city, at that time I was pretty heavy on alcohol, and I was trying my damnedest to quit when I moved to Edmonton. And I ran into a beautiful lady that time, you know, and I'm married to her today, and she's my kingpin, you know. And I guess that's where it all started, you know. And she had somehow found out that this is what I used to do, like, you know. She got a hold of a fiddle somehow. She bought me an amp, and I started practicing. And in the meantime, they used to have dances here. The Friendship Center used to have dances all the time. Every month they had to have one dance. And I used to go to those, and that's where I met my beautiful lady, my wife now today, of 36 years. And I used to sit and watch this Lawrence Anderson. Man, that guy can play fiddle. Oh, I just sit there, and my wife said, "You want to dance?" Boy, she said, "Boy, you'd like to go play, huh?" And I said, "Maybe someday." I said, "No." And then there was a lady that used to play the piano for him, you know. And she was kind of ornery. Oh, the cuss, you know. And she used to argue with him all the time. And at one time he was sitting there, you know, and I was sitting close by, you know. And she wouldn't come play the piano. She had to go visit, you know, and we were sitting to dance. Like, there's no microphone, nothing, you know. Everything is just flat out, you know, in a big hall. And he just looks at me. He said, I met him at the Friendship Center. He used to talk, you know. He said, "Do you know how to play this piano?" I said, "Yeah." He said, come and play." So I jumped on the stage and I started playing for him, man. And I never got off that stage. After 5 years, I was still on that stage playing for this Lawrence Anderson, you know. And at one time, I found this kind of funny that time. And I without thinking, he was playing the fiddle. And this fellow I knew from back home, he played the piano. He was quite a piano player. He comes up to me and says, "You ever play the fiddle?" I said, "No." "Does this guy know you play fiddle?" I said, "No." And Lawrence says, "Do you know how to play this?" I said, "I play a little bit." He said, "I want to dance with my wife. Can you play a nice waltz for me?" "All right." That guy jumped on the piano and I started playing that fiddle. He just stood there and looked at me and said, "You didn't tell me I played the fiddle." "Well, you never asked." So it was great times to have. I guess he'd be another one, Lawrence Anderson, that I've learned all kinds of tunes off him.
Well,
you know.
when you were playing the piano for him, about, can you date that? Like when about?
Excuse me, that'd be, I moved to the city in 63, 66 I got married. Well, 67, 68 in that there. Those 3 years in that, in the late 60s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you have, do you have any good stories about your uncle Peter Petra, like fiddling or otherwise, kind of stories, funny story or anything about Peter Petra?
I guess the funniest part, I don't know how a guy can do this. He used to play his fiddle kick same time and call square dance. So that's a how does a person do that? Like, I can't even talk when I'm playing the fiddle.
Yeah, pretty talented.
I mean, he did all this. I could just see him, just call square dance, play the fiddle same time and kick his feet. Boy, I don't know how that's going to work, But it worked. I guess that's stuff that kind of stuck to me, Good times to be had.
Where did you learn your fiddle tunes, and like how did you learn them? Was it mostly from listening to the people that you mentioned, like Peter Petra and Lawrence Anderson, or did you listen to the radio? Or?
If I remember right, we had this old radio, the big battery packs, and then you had to run this line outside.
Oh, yeah.
And I think once a week there used to be this Don Messers and the Islanders used to play their half hour every week, and I'd be glued to that radio. And I guess I can thank the Creator for giving me that gift where I could listen to a tune and 2-3 times, and I got it. There's some people that work on the same tune for hours and hours and days, they still don't play it right, And I guess I have that gift, And I was happy with that. And I didn't have no tape recorder. We had little, I guess it was little gramophones that you wind up, But at that time, I didn't have the money just to go to the store and go buy it. Or took that certain tune, And I guess really we didn't even have the books. I didn't even know what the name of the tune, but I knew the tune. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Like somebody could tell me, can you play let's say Big John? What? I tell them and I says, well, can you hum it a little bit? The minute they start humming it, now, heck, I knew it. But I couldn't put the name and the tune together for a long time. And at that time, it didn't matter.
Right, yeah.
It wasn't a big issue, Who gives a damn what the name of the tune is as long as you play it and people dance and had a good time? You can play the thing all night long and nobody cared. No.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Nowadays at a big function, it seems pretty important to announce what the tune is.
Yeah.
The key. Well.
Yeah.
So, is there anything else you might want to tell us about the history of fiddling in your family? Correct me if I'm wrong, but your grandfather played, or your dad? Did your dad play fiddle?
My dad played a little bit, But at that time, growing up, he had this big problem, and playing, I guess, was just the only time. That's the only time he could do it. And after he had a few nips, Other than that, he never did. I can't really remember. I really see him pick it up and then play at the home. Only at parties. When he had enough courage, I guess, to go play the fiddle, and that's the only thing that I could remember. Yeah.
You mentioned that your family was pretty religious, and I'm wondering can you recall the church or parish priest encouraging the playing of fiddle music, or do you recall if they discouraged it, Métis fiddling? Like I've heard stories, some places, even back home, like my uncle would say that my grandfather, old Joel Villeneuve, carried the sins of the town on his shoulders because he was playing the fiddle at the Saturday night dance, and there would hardly be anybody in church Sunday morning.
I guess I can't recall something like that. The only thing I could think of is grandma always say, like, "Hey, put that away now. Matsmanto kapetsmao, you know, the devil will come, you know." But at that time, let him come. I didn't know what was that anyway, you know. And somebody, and like a myth, I guess, I really don't believe in stuff like that, is that they have all kind of myths, like, and if you want to be a good violin player, you got to kind of meet the devil and all that. I said the devil is in a person, you know. If you want to meet that guy, if you want to abuse that fiddle, well, go for it, you know. But for me, a fiddle that's me. As a me, this person, the fiddle, I can't take that away from anybody or from myself. Like if I pick up a fiddle and somebody mentions a fiddle, well, that's part of me. That's me. I can't change that. And I'm really proud of that, you know. To say, well, anywhere I can go stand somewhere and say, you know, they might not remember my name, but the minute I pick up that fiddle and it's next to me, it's part of me. The light bulb goes on, like, you know, this, and like, I'll just go back a little bit, like, I was standing in a big gathering one time, just kind of stepping back, and I'm standing there looking, and this little kid came by me, kept looking at me. Finally, he come up to me, had enough gall, come up to me, he says, grabbed my pants, he says, "Were you on TV?" I said, "Yes." "I saw you." I said, "Where?" "In Yellowknife," he said. And I was really, I shook his hand. I said, "Thank you, you know this?" He said, "Yeah, I know this." And where you went, this little kid, you know. And that was quite an honor from a little kid after he would walk back and forth. He just couldn't put me in place.
Yeah. About reading sheet music for the fiddle, do you think being able to read music would help or hinder a Métis fiddler style of fiddling?
Oh, God, yeah. Okay. This is, I guess, my own opinion. This is just the way I see it, is that Métis fiddling is from the heart. And there's a lot of feeling when it comes to that part for me, is that I play from here, you know, and if I was reading, thinking from the notebook, I would be too busy looking at the notes, trying to be perfect on my notes, and forgetting my music and the feel for the music, so and my music wouldn't flow. It would come choppy, you know, and I come across that a lot of times in fiddle contests. I can tell you who's reading notes and who isn't. Like everybody's different. I'm my own person. I can play a tune, maybe not note for note, but it will have feeling with that music. There'll be a lot of feeling with that music.
And that's, to you, that's more important than being able to read. Play with feeling first.
That's me, like, you know. Like, I'm not knocking people that read notes, okay? I wished I could do that to make my work easier, but that wouldn't be me. That'd be the person that wrote that song, that music. That's him. I'm just an instrument playing somebody else's. You know what I'm saying? Trying to say here?
Yes.
Instead of me, let's say there's one tune everybody plays. I don't care where you go. Maple Sugar. And each player has their own way of playing maple sugar. There's not one that'll say that's note for note. You can't tell me that. Not in maple sugar. Everybody got their own little style, a little nicks and the little chopping this there. You know, they're little, they add on to it. You know, I'd sooner add on to improvise, you know, rather than hold that note there really extra long. It don't really mean that much. There's no meaning to it, really. And why hold it that long when you can put 4 or 5 notes in the same and make it sound just a little bit completed, you know, full. You know, that's the way I look at it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. About fiddle tunes, in particular the Red River Jig. There are many stories on the origin of the Red River Jig, and I'm just wondering if you could tell us what your ideas are on the origin of the Red River Jig, where the tune came from, or any stories that you might have heard that are believable or to you.
Now, the Red River Jig, I guess to me it's competitive. You know, you get to these dances where there'll be people from different families, okay, who come in and say, okay, I can do 5 steps here. That's the way I see Red River Jig. Can you do 6? If you can do 6, I'll do 7. And that's how I think. That's the way I saw Red River Jig. It was a competition. Who's going to be better? And it was a little game, like, you know. It wasn't meant to hurt people. It's a game and just to bring the personality out of people. I think that's Red River Jig for me. You know. And to me, when I'm playing the Red River Jig, it means that this is me. You can't take that away from me. Try as you like, but you're not going to take this away from me. Because Red River Jig, that's me. That's Métis. Okay. And when I see dancers, when we're working together, look out, there's chemistry here. And he can do 10 steps. He's not going to slow me down. And yet, there can be somebody else. I hate to say this, no, but there's always the right and left, they call it. There's 2 sides to a story. And yet I can get some people to get up and do 1 step, and I'm just about ready to put the fiddle down. Because they're making me work so hard, just like I'm trying to dance with them and they're not paying attention, like, you know, they're doing their own thing, and I'm just back here just making lots of noise, and that's hurting, you know. And that's jig for me. It's competition. And I think where it originated from, I'm not even sure. But first time I heard Red River Jig was from, I had bought this record, and I was listening to one time, and this Red River Jig came on, and it was played really slow. And I listened, and it was one of those 78s, you know, where you can speed up your thing. So I said, gee, this sounds familiar, but I couldn't, being a young age, I couldn't put it together, like, you know, what's going on here, you know. So I kicked it, speed it up. I said, that's Red River Jig. Now, you know. So it was played, I think maybe really slow at one time, and somebody decided to say, well, hey, let's speed it up, see what happens here.
Yeah. Another twist to the story on the Red River Jig.
Yeah, that's all where it originated from. I couldn't tell you. I just, I guess I didn't do my homework when it comes to that. But
I guess just history, I guess, because you read about how the Red River Jig was, well, being the Red River Jig, it must come from the Red River area, but you hear now how it's played all the way up through western provinces, Northwest Territory, the Yukon, even in Alaska they hear the Red River Jig. So people say that maybe it probably followed the trade route. If you go back in time, well, past the Red River, well, it may have come from Quebec too. They talk about a song called La Jig Dubac, Canada, as sounding very close to the Red River Jig, but I guess we'll leave that to the academics.
Yeah.
Say if you were to play the fiddle at a dance on the radio or any other special function, are there any special preparations you go through before you begin to play? Any little rituals or any special way you prepare to go to play?
Oh God, that's pretty hard to answer. I'll answer that the best way I know right about now is that I am a big believer in religion. Like I carry that with me all the time. And I always do a little prayer, small little prayer, just before I do. Doesn't matter what I do, like, you know. Because it's not easy to take a fiddle and go play in front of people. That's very hard. Even that is work itself, to go there and do it, play that fiddle, and play it well. So I always ask the Creator to help me. You know, I didn't ask you today. Today's, I need a little help today. Just a little bit. Just get me over that 4 or 5 notes. That's all I want. Once I get over that 4 or 5 notes, no looking back, I'm gone. And it just, and a lot of times is how I feel that day. You know, if I feel like I'm ready to cut her loose, look out, I will play. And sometimes it's very hard just to get in there and do a thing, because you make commitments and you never want to back down. When people ask you, like I played in churches, and I did backup for singers, and stuff like that, you know, and I always ask the Creator just to give me a little hand there, you know, and it's been working well. And I guess that's the only thing that I have, is that I'll say a little prayer before I will do something. Lots of times when you see me, when I'm playing, and if I have my head down just holding the bow, I'm meditating for that few minutes, that I do it well. Not only for me, for the people that ask me, and for the dancers, like, you know, be with me when I'm doing this thing. Like, you know, let's be one, rather than you doing your thing and I'm doing mine, and then the people on the side, everybody don't care. Like, there's no togetherness, everybody's talking. But look out when you get the fiddle or the dancers together. You got all the people, you got them trapped, and there's no way of getting away till you're done. And that feeling is, you can't describe that. It's not written in the books nowhere. And a lot of violin players will tell you that. You know, it's a heck of a feeling, you know, when you got the whole crowd, and you got the dancers with you, wherever it is, and the people that are backing you up. You know, I'll speak of Trent. Look out when you get him going, boy, you're gone. When he starts yelping back there, boy, look out. You're ready to go.
I can relate to that. Having played guitar and bass behind my dad and quite a few fiddle bands, I have an idea of that feeling. Is there one fiddle tune that, to your way of thinking, would define the Métis style of fiddling? One fiddle tune, Métis style of fiddling?
A Métis style. It'd be one of the old dances. It's, to me, everybody plays it different. I got my own style. Other people got their own. Is the duck dance? No, that's got to be Métis dance. And that's got to be, for me, that's the tune, is the duck dance. Because once you start playing that, boy, I played for the Creeland dancers. Awesome. We're together. Look out, hang on to your hats, because there's no stopping us right now. To me, that's the tune for me.
The duck dance?
Yeah, duck dance. And the next one is the Red River Jig. I think they're pretty close. When you start playing Red River Jig, people stand up and they're all over the place. People are coming out of the woodwork, you know, they're all over. Because you're playing Red River Jig, they want to see that. That's another one. I would say they're pretty, to me, like, you know, that's just my own opinion, is that they're neck and neck, you know, because of the different sound, you know, and there's so much drive to it and there's so much feeling. If you got the right people playing that tune, luck out, you know. You'll have people dancing on the side, clapping, whatever, you know. And to me, that's it. There's no other way. There's no other tunes.
Yeah, well, thank you. Can you recall any unusual stories or funny stories about Métis fiddling or dancing in your community? Anything really unusual that you might have seen or heard?
Well, I guess I like to. People like to talk about themselves, you know. I play for a lot of dances. I play for weddings, anniversaries, and you name it. And this one time I had everything all loaded up and away we went. I got over there and I didn't have a violin. What do I do now? Never mind violin. I had my big work boots on and I left my cowboy boots, my violin by the door, and that's where they stayed. Now, what do I do? I was just lucky. They talk. It's nice to have phones, you know. Phone home, and the wife says, "Yeah, I was wondering when you were going to phone." They said, "Where are you at?" So I told her where we were at. You know, we stopped, waited, kind of. She brought him over there. But I have a versatile band, which is great. They kind of carried me over for that half hour, an hour, whatever. You know, they do a lot of singing. They can do a lot of playing on their own, whatever. But to me, the violin is the violin. You know, like they say, you don't have a band till you have a fiddle in the band or something like that. You know, the little saying they have. So there's few people dance, but once you start playing that fiddle, hey, the crowd just jumps up. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's that little devil they talk about, you know.
Well,
you never know.
Well, funny you should say that, because the next question was a devil question. Many old-timer fiddlers believe that when certain songs such as The Devil's Reel or The Devil's Dream are played, that the devil will come to you. Do you believe this, or any stories that associate the devil with Métis fiddle music?
I don't think I don't believe in that. Each to his own. Whatever you hear, whatever you want to take, whatever you want to give. Like, you know, I can't. To me, music's music. You know, that tune could be called something else, and people wouldn't know anyway. You know, like The Devil's Dream, whatever. What if the same music and they call it a different name? Would you know? Like, you know, it's the name alone. That's all that. But the music itself describes itself like a.
Yeah.
Just, you know, and to me, to make a myth out of that, I don't think so.